In 2026, the AI industry hit a wall almost nobody saw coming, and it has nothing to do with computing power. For a decade, the plan was simple: feed a model more of the internet and it gets smarter. That plan just ran out of internet. To put the scale in perspective, the largest models today are trained on trillions of words, something close to every public book, article, and forum post humanity has ever typed, run through more than once. Researchers at Epoch AI and elsewhere now estimate the world's usable stock of high-quality human writing will be exhausted somewhere between 2026 and 2032. Watch the gauge in the corner. It's the same number every serious lab is quietly watching: how much real, human-written text is left to learn from. Right now, call it full. Here's why it matters so much. Every new generation of these models doesn't need a little more data than the last one. Scaling laws say it needs an order of magnitude more, for a shrinking improvement each time. Think about what a model actually learns: not memorized sentences, but an average of everything it's read. Feed a model text that's already somebody else's average, and the next model learns the average of an average, and the sharp edges quietly disappear. So the loop that built modern AI is running directly into a wall built out of its own appetite. The industry's answer has been synthetic data, text, images, and code generated by one AI model, used to train the next one. Which sounds efficient, until you remember what happens when you photocopy a photocopy of a photocopy. Each copy loses a little of the original detail nobody notices, until enough copies pile up. Researchers have a name for the version of that which happens when models train on the output of earlier models: model collapse. Rare details, unusual phrasing, the long tail of reality, quietly averaged away, generation after generation. For a while, this was mostly theoretical, not anymore. A February 2026 report in Communications of the ACM confirmed model collapse is now visible in commercial products already shipping, not a lab experiment. Background removal tools that quietly started failing on certain hair textures. Image generators whose output has grown noticeably more homogeneous, generation over generation, without anyone changing the prompt. It shows up in smaller ways too. People across very different AI tools, on very different days, started noticing the same thing. Answers that felt slightly more generic, more interchangeable, more like everyone's average guess, even when nothing about the prompt had changed. But here's the part almost nobody reports clearly. The problem isn't synthetic data, it's what you do with it. When a new model's training set replaces real data with synthetic data each generation, collapse shows up fast. When labs instead accumulate synthetic data on top of the original human data, never throwing the real stuff away, researchers found models stay stable, across sizes, across formats. Which means this isn't a countdown to an ending. It's a management problem, and right now, some labs are managing it, and some clearly aren't. One strategy already underway: digging into what was written before the modern internet existed at all. Millions of books, decades of print archives never fully digitized. A real, untouched pool of human writing. Another, treating video, audio, and images as data too, not just text. Multimodal training could roughly triple what's actually usable, by some estimates. A third, less dramatic, but maybe more important, making models that need less data to reach the same capability, better algorithms doing more with what's already been collected. None of this stays inside a chatbot either. The same models increasingly sit underneath search results, translation tools, and even early drafts of scientific summaries, which means a flattened long tail doesn't just make text feel blander. It can quietly erase the rare, minority, or simply unusual idea a system never learned existed. Which corrects a quiet assumption a lot of people carry around, that AI just keeps getting smarter forever, automatically, because it reads everything. It doesn't read everything. It already has, and how carefully labs manage what's left decides what happens from here, not how big the next model is. So the real headline out of 2026 was never that AI is running out of data. It's that for the first time, the ceiling on this technology isn't compute, or money, or chips. It's something much older: how much of the world has actually been written down, and how carefully we treat it. Next time someone tells you a model is smarter because it's bigger, Ask the question this gauge has been asking the whole time. Smarter, trained on what exactly?